Okay, go ahead.
All right, call to order the Township Board of Supervisors meeting tonight, April 14th, 2022. We're going to say the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I want to announce tonight we had an executive session tonight to talk about some legal things. And also, I'd like to, it's time for, does anybody have any public comments? We got Jody.
I do.
Jody, she's not ready yet.
Well, I'm waiting on my,
Your other half is.
yeah, and she's the one who has the proposal and everything.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Sounds good. We wanted to,
Yeah, so I can jump in with solicitor's report, and we'll just pick up the public comment when we get there. The only thing to talk about is for the multimodal transportation grant, the township's going through the process of taking out a loan. It's a large loan; it's a $600,000 loan, but it's part of the grant. It's not really a $600,000 loan that the township's taking out, but nonetheless. We have to go through the Local Government Unit Debt Act to obtain approval for that loan. Local Government Unit Debt Act it's the state's way of monitoring the debt and approving debt that municipalities take out. I have given, the supervisors have a copy of an ordinance that we will need to pass as part of that process at next month's meeting. And then that will allow us to get the state approval. So what we should do is entertain a motion to advertise the ordinance for next month, and then the ordinance will be on file here leading into the meeting, and there will be a notice in the paper and everything else. We'll then have the public hearing at next month's meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's all I have.
All right, we have the Emergency Management Coordinator.
I don't have too much to report. The only thing on the emergency management is every time there's heavy rains, I check into Penn's Creek levels to make sure that it was, the highest they got was like 3.5 foot, and at about 7 foot we had flooding down the creek road. So we've been lucky. It's enough to bring the water up, but not too high.
Okay.
So that's about it.
All right, that's great. You want to go ahead? Do you guys like to do the public comments
Yes,
now?
please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sure.
You have something on that.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you for having
Yeah.
us.
She
I
ran.
actually have another updated one, Pam, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I may not have enough for everybody, because I need one for myself, okay? I'll give this one to you then, Pam. All right, okay. All right, so I know that when I met you guys out at the field,
Yep.
I believe, is it Brandon? Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
He asked for sort of like a proposal of what we wanted, so I just said that this is an overview of all the things that the Penns Valley Little League Softball Organization would like to do to sort of renovate the softball complex for this year. So we want to redo the infield of the small field. We're going to give the large field a grooming, just sort of making it look right. We'd like to paint the dugouts, the Penns Valley blue and white colors. We'd like to paint the concession stand. We'd like to fix the concrete on the dugouts and the backstop. There's always a constant issue at some points during the summer and during the fall too, where there's insects, bees in the dugouts and sheds, and sometimes we have to get Ehrlich here to help us with that. And then Jody just told me today that we'd also like to look into purchasing a new shed, because that shed is pretty
It's,
not in great shape. I do
Yeah.
believe that Darren Bressler had told me one time that that shed floated away during some sort of a flood, and they had to cart it back, okay? So, so here's where some of the things, I know that I've talked to you guys about some of this, so obviously we had 2 bids that came in well over $10,000. Then I ran into John Clare, whose bid was $5,300. I had originally had the cost of the paint incorrect. I had the square footage wrong, so it ended up being, I think that we got a little bit of a discount,
We did $100.
Yeah, so it was about
From
$400
Lowe's.
total.
500
It was
total.
500 total,
Yeah.
okay. Because that also included rollers and brushes and things like that. So what you see on here is only what it would have cost for the paint. Now, the concrete. So Mandy Biddle's dad came out and he basically said that that is not from people hitting the concrete, that that is from water damage. That on top of those bricks, they should have put a cap. They should have put a 2x10 or something.
Okay.
I'm not sure why that wasn't done.
I know, there was five
Different people.
different masons that did that project, and I was like, out of 5, not one could have
Yeah.
done it right, but, you know.
Yeah, I know that he said that somebody started it, a couple guys started it, a couple guys finished it, and basically, you know, I'll give you a great example, and I think I told Pam this today, that last fall when we had that really bad flood, you know, that water was up, probably halfway up the brick, and, you know, it floated out home plate, and what happens is that when it rains, when that water lays in there, it's just deteriorating the bricks.
Well, they also explained to me that when it freezes, if there's
Right.
water down and it freezes, that's what's expanding and knocking those chips out, why it looks like the inside and outsides are hit, it looks like it's hit, but that's not, that's actually from being frozen
That's right.
inside.
Yep.
And that's where all the deterioration's coming from.
So there were two things, he said that, you know, you could try to put a 2x10 on there to cap it off, you know, fix the bricks, put a 2x10 and cap it off. Then he had a different idea, which I thought was a decent
It
idea.
is, it's probably the one that,
And he said that you could because put a 2x10 on there, the fence is right against the concrete, okay? So you'd have to snip off some of the fence in order to get the 2x10 on there. And he said, he thought about like Laren Horner, these kind of guys that have rubber roofing, which is real thin. He said you could take that and put it across that and go down the block and you could glue it right on the blocks, and he said it would never. And so then I took a little, because Domer told me to talk to Dana Glasgow, so I called his wife at the school, and then Dana said that, or Tammy told me that Laren had just got a bunch of that, because you know, so, what you would need there is probably what people aren't using,
Yeah, something
yeah,
silly.
like a bit of scrap, do you know what I'm saying? So that, I don't know what that would cost, I don't know if those fellows would do that for nothing, but I do think that the rubber roofing, if anything, it was.
that'd be the way we're gonna go.
Yeah. And then, of course, the new shed, you could talk about that a little bit more then, but.
Yeah, just, we actually talked about not getting a wooden shed, actually, is actually purchasing one that's, I don't even know the name of the material, I forget. But the guy in Center Hall, the intersection, he does them to where it's composite. They say
Yeah,
composite, like, to where it's not gonna,
Yeah,
I mean, I never really go near the shed. I hadn't because of the bees, because I'm allergic. But I was there on Sunday and I was shocked. I had no idea it was as bad as it was. I mean, it's completely rotted, you know, the whole way around the bottom. And like I said, last year we had to have Ehrlich come out 3 different times to contain the bees, and you know, because they're getting up in there. So we would prefer just to do it right and get a shed. Obviously, we need a bigger shed because since we're going to redo the little field, we now have majors, minors, and we'll have minis on that whole complex. So we're going to need a bigger shed with shelves in order. We just purchased a lawnmower, so you know we needed to have it in there to drag the field with, and shelves and that kind of stuff. So we're looking at costs of that at least $5,000. I mean, we just had a board meeting Tuesday night and talked about it, so no one's really had the opportunity to go and talk to the guy in Center Hall or figure out what cost-wise. I mean, I know what a shed normally costs, but that particular kind.
yeah, and I told Jody too, and actually, you know, because you took, when we did our new shed at our house,
Yep.
and we took those trees down first, I had so many issues with the old shed, with the groundhogs just digging under there, and then eventually they just chewed right through the floor. So what I did is put a concrete pad in first, and then put a new wooden shed in. But then if you think about putting a concrete pad in, I don't know if you want to put, that costs, concrete's not
Yeah,
cheap
right.
either. So I mean, you gotta sort of outweigh, look, cost and benefit analysis kind of thing. And the composite may be the better way to go, you know,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just what we were talking
and then a
about.
little, the pest control, I think it's about $200 per time.
I think it was almost 3,
Okay,
but it's guaranteed for 30 days. you know what I mean? But anything after that, then they would recharge that again.
And we
so.
did have him come back a couple times within 30 days.
Yeah, it was 3 times, yes, it was definitely 3 times.
For what, Amy? For what?
Oh,
pest?
there
was the
are
bees.
yellow
Oh,
jackets.
bees. Okay, I
Yeah,
missed
yellow,
that.
in the
Yeah.
shed in the fall,
Not
the yellow
groundhogs.
jackets were out of control.
No, there is Mr. Groundhog living under there. He's
Okay.
been there for a long time. And like I said, I'm a big animal lover, don't care what it is, so I want it humanely moved. No one's gonna do anything to him, so. But yeah, I mean, he's been there a long time, so just to prevent any future groundhogs. But it's the bees is the biggest concern. I mean, not that kids go in there, but I personally am allergic. There's other
Yeah,
people, so.
we actually just try to make sure the kids don't go in there. I mean,
Yeah.
Try getting out, so.
Yeah.
We're really excited about it though, because I think it's just gonna make the whole complex look
Mhm.
nicer, you know, and to know, and it's gonna give the girls something to have pride in,
Yeah.
you know, to realize like these are our fields. Because like I said before, we've never really had the fields the boys had it for the Little League and, you know, so it's, that's what we've got.
Yeah.
All right?
All right, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Appreciate
Right,
that.
There's one more, if anybody needs that particular one.
So then, what do we do from here? Do we wait for your, like, are we allowed to at least start painting, or what do we need approval for? Like, what do we have to
We,
do and wait?
I know we need to have that on, we need to have that on an agenda, don't we?
It's on they're here, they're asking,
Okay.
so you can. Am I correct, David?
Yes, and I mean, I think we could follow the amendments anyway if we need.
And give them permission to
Do the painting?
do the painting.
Is that what you're asking for right now?
Yes,
What
and-
can we do right now? What do we have to wait on? How long? What do we, you know what I mean? That
Are
kind
you
of thing.
asking for a donation? What exactly are you asking for? To help
As of,
pay
Right
for,
now.
or?
We would love for something to help offset the expense to the Little League, right? Isn't that what you're saying,
Yeah,
Jody?
yes. I mean, anything that could be done just because of the field. You know, we've been talking about doing the little field for, you know,
A while.
yeah, wow. And we've had the most girls we've ever had sign up. We had 66 sign up. That's 6 teams. We literally have 2 fields to play on. That does not work. Thank God, the high school has finally given in and allowed us to use the JV field. Otherwise, I really don't know what we would have done because we have 3 minors teams. The unfortunate part about that is that we've already been kicked off of it 3 times because they take precedence. But yes, I mean, we're looking at over $5,000 to redo the field. We're looking at, you know, shed at least over $5,000.
Paint.
So the paint was
500.
500, yeah. The
What
lawn,
are you, sorry to jump
No,
in.
no.
What are you thinking of doing in the next 30 days?
Painting?
we're definitely, we're definitely painting. We actually, we're hoping to get it done
Maybe Saturday.
Saturday maybe, but,
Yeah.
but yeah, between that and, I'll be honest, we need that little, we need to be able, we have kids practicing on it, at times right now, and it's just not a,
I know that John Clare told me that, and I talked to Pam last week, he wanted to bring the dirt last week, and then I talked to Pam, she said, we really need to do this way first, and so I texted him, and he said, okay, and I said, I told him I was meeting him tonight, as soon as I get word from you all, I will text him and say that he has the green light to do so, and he said basically, he wasn't putting us on the schedule, he said, look, I can come up here on a Saturday with my brother and a couple guys, and we'll have that done, you know? But he is gonna get 2 triaxle loads of dirt delivered, whenever we get the okay that we can do so.
when you say dirt, you mean infield?
It's infield dirt.
that
It's
in,
in
to
field
build that
mix.
again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what they need, plus permission of me, if nothing else.
Right.
Then we can-
Well,
And bring a new building,
And
or
bring
to,
a big-
you know what I mean, if
Well,
that's,
sorry, for now, until May 8th, if we wanted to add a larger discussion to the agenda, that.
For next month.
Right,
Okay,
you could
I'm following you.
potentially
Yeah, okay,
At least get them started.
okay. Well then, we're gonna need a motion then.
What can we, look at where the funding would come from?
That's, I was thinking that, but you're thinking we shouldn't do that until next meeting, is what you're thinking.
Chat about it. Let's see where it goes.
Look, if you guys need to talk, we can get out of here.
It's tricky, the law changed last year, there are weird things about what's on their agenda specifically,
account fund would be the money that we would have to work with.
No, I'd say rec fee
Rec fee
and
and
lieu.
lieu.
Rec
We
fee
have
and
those
lieu,
too,
okay.
so yeah.
Is it true that, Pam, that rec fee and lieu money has to be spent anyway by a certain date? Is that,
It should be, and it has to stay in the
In Great
township.
Township,
okay, well, that's in Great Township.
Yes.
correct, correct,
And obviously, we're not asking for all of the money.
right.
We're asking for whatever you can donate
Right.
at reasonably
At
as
this point in time.
Greg Township.
Would you folks be comfortable if we gave the permission that you could go ahead and contact John Clare?
I would.
And the same way with the painting. That way we get a chance to kind of talk about the rest of it and see what we can do then to give you the hand financially.
Yeah, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah, next
know,
meeting.
I also know that,
I mean, do
John
you have
Clare-
to pay his bill right away?
yeah, no, I know that
Oh,
John,
okay.
I
wasn't
do know,
sure.
I do know that John, only from personal experience, when it was a big bill, you know, he allowed me to pay him monthly, you know, and we could do that, and, you know, in reality, when you think about jobs that John does, $5,300 isn't a very big
No,
job.
it's not.
So, you know, if he would accept $1,000 from us a month until we know what y'all folks are doing, right? Would that work, Joe?
Oh, yeah, that's.
Well, at this point, I'd make a motion to go ahead and give him the okay to do that in your painting.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
I'd second that motion.
If we, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
if we decide to get a new shed, can we, if it's gonna take weeks, do we have the permission to put a new shed on there, that if we can get it ordered, or?
Yeah, that'll probably take a little bit to order, too.
Right, yes, that's why,
Why don't you keep Pam in the loop? And then
Okay.
she can contact us.
okay,
What do you guys
But,
think?
well, they need to know though about that shed tonight to get that ball rolling though. Am I right?
I mean, just, if we can,
Go ahead. What would you do with the old one? The one that exists? I mean, is that just being torn down and disposed?
Actually,
that was the,
That would probably be it, you know.
it was the, yeah, we had talked,
Did they talk about
we
tearing
talked
it
to the
down?
board about tearing it
Yeah.
down, yeah.
Okay.
I
You
mean,
know, we
there's,
have guys that, we have
there's
enough people
salvaging,
that can help us tear it down.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
That old shed that I had, when Stoltzfus came in and gave me a new shed, he took the old shed with him and sold it to somebody in Phillipsburg.
nice.
But I don't think this shed is
It's not
is
really
worthy
sellable,
of
yeah.
being resold.
Mhm.
You know, I don't think it's
Not
got
even
enough
remotely.
life left in it.
Because we actually looked and thought maybe we could
Yeah, repaint
refix
it.
it or redo, but
Right.
there's no way. The doors are,
Yeah, it's
they have
bad.
trouble getting it shut, you know, with the lock, and especially, you know, now that we purchased a lawnmower, you know what I mean, it's gotta be
Yeah.
secure,
Yeah,
so that it's not stolen or anything,
but you're
so.
right, it may take a while for him to get a shed in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I just wanna know that if that is, we officially decide to buy a new shed, that we do have the permission that whenever it comes in, that we are allowed to put a new shed down there.
I'm okay with that, but
I would add that.
add that to the motion.
The motion?
Yeah, so we're gonna, yes. So the motion is to give permission for the painting and for the putting of the, what
The
is it
infield
called?
material.
Yep,
John Clare's.
John Clare.
Redoing the.
Infill?
Redoing the
Infill.
measure.
Redoing the infield,
Yeah.
Infield soil and also allowing to bring a shed in.
Okay,
Okay,
All right.
And if
Okay, so-
anything else comes up,
yes,
just give Pam a
Yes.
call right away.
okay,
So,
yeah, because of the, I mean, the whole roofing thing, I mean, that's just concrete, you know what I mean, that
Right.
really isn't any,
yeah.
dealing with any,
Yeah, and I'm actually hoping that those guys will just do it out of the
Yeah.
goodness of their heart for the most
Yeah.
part. I really do. I think they might. I don't even think we're gonna have to buy the rubber roofing, from what I understood about with them getting some, you know, that was being thrown away or whatnot.
yeah.
So I do have
possibly,
one
so.
question before I
You
go.
didn't finish the motion, did you?
Where would John be able, when I allow him to say, hey, go ahead and order your dirt, where should he dump 2 triaxle loads of dirt? Since we're doing a little
Wherever
fill.
he needs to in there, I mean, just,
Didn't you
all
have
we
some
say is,
delivered that?
Yes.
Where would you put it then?
We had, well, it was delivered that day,
So
and
where
then
do you
we
think?
did it that night.
wherever.
So you have like wood chip pallets, so like
I'm
just
sorry?
Where did
like
they
2
put it?
pallets there,
They had
like
put
for
it
the
right-
triaxle
I
loads?
don't care.
Like,
The only
right,
thing that we have issues with
outside of
is
the
that
fencing
we're
there,
not-
and then we had
as
tractors,
Oh.
long as
took
it's
down a
out.
fence, and so the
Okay.
tractor could get in and dump
All right,
it
and
into
I
the
actually did
state
tell him
and
too
then-
that whatever he might have
Sounds
left,
all right with us.
I want him to use his bucket
Yeah.
and take
I mean,
over
'cause
to
like you
where we
said,
have,
it'll be
we have a
done
little bit left from
Yeah.
last year.
Like that,
I want him
it's
to move it, so I will try to
done.
let him know
Yeah,
that
that's fine.
wherever he has that, he should make sure that he gets it.
Yeah, the only thing is
Rutting.
ruts that is a pain in the butt for us.
Okay, I get that, okay,
Other than that,
okay.
They have a motion on the floor, excuse me, you just need to have a vote, really,
Okay.
or any discussion. if there's-
all right.
I'm finished, I have
I have
no
nothing.
discussion, no.
seconded yet? No.
You did.
You did.
Ben,
You did
you
that.
did.
I seconded that. All right, and there's no discussion?
No further
So,
discussion.
no further discussion, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, it
Do
passes.
we come back then next month, or will you contact us about, or you have to discuss it at the next meeting,
Yes.
Yeah, I don't
right?
think you need to be here, but
Yeah.
probably
Okay.
a good idea. They're going to talk about the finances, and that makes more sense for this new law to be on the
Yes.
agenda.
Thank you.
Okay.
That works out
Yes.
well.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right,
all right.
thank you
All right,
very, very
thank you.
much.
Yep.
Thank you, ladies.
All right. Oh, I guess that's my,
Yeah, I was
that's
gonna
my,
say.
All right,
that's my.
so now we're, Greg Township Fire Company. So we can do this, right?
Yes, that one you can.
I have it down at the bottom as correspondence, but we received a card from the Gregg Township Fire Company. It says, "Thank you, Township, from the officers and members of the Gregg Township Fire Company, number 1. Thank you very much for your donation to our department. Thank you so much for plowing the snow and cleaning up the cinders and stones at the fire hall. It is so appreciated."
Thank you. I was at their meeting last week, and they're working at doing the, there's going to be a craft vendor type fair or something there coming up. They're working on tractor pools, getting those organized for the summer. And the other thing is, they're just saying if you haven't submitted your membership dues, please do that. If you are members and haven't sent your dues in yet, they would appreciate that. That's about all they had to say.
All right, very good. Old Greg School, Advisory Board report.
On Saturday, we had our spring craft show. We had $12.90 in donations. We sold some extra buns for $3 we had left over. Used book sale was $21.50, and I think we sold about 10 cookbooks. They were $5 a piece, and then you get buy one, get one free. So we're getting them whittled down. And we should have cleared about $1,407. It wasn't a lot of money, but the kitchen had like $657 with the books, and which I thought was pretty decent.
That's really good.
And we bought some new 8-foot tables,
Yeah.
so, because we had a bunch of them that were broke and smashed. And
But the ones you replaced, Jim, were original, correct?
a lot of them,
Yeah.
and you can't buy parts for them. A lot of them get twisted up, but we worked a deal with the church and center. Pam did. That we got she called down to A1 in Mifflinburg.
A+ office
A+
outlet.
office. And their normal price is $114. I checked them down at Weaver's, they were $174. And if we got 10 tables, we could get them for $104 a piece delivered.
114, it would drop it down, but if we got 10, it was 104, and then we got free. I said, well, you can deliver them for nothing, right?
So we got free
They
delivery.
did.
Great.
So we split the cost in threes. So it only cost us like $350.
That's a great deal.
Yeah.
Great, great. We need this.
Well,
No.
that's it.
Good.
All right. Physical plant managers report, that's you too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why he's looking at it.
I've been doing some painting. We painted the outside door. Did some cleaning up in here, trying to organize some cupboards and some spaces around, get rid of some stuff that we don't need anymore, and trying to organize a little bit. We cleaned down under the new part, the concrete section. We got 4 or 5 bags of garbage out of there. When the contractors were in there, any soda bottles, light bulbs, stuff was just thrown around. So we got that cleaned up, so that's pretty decent. Looking for a water leak. I have a new boiler relief ordered. Checking around, called a couple different places, Bilo, etc. They wouldn't even give you a quote. Said all their stuff's back ordered. Had no idea when it would get in. So I looked on eBay and I found one for $200. and that was cheaper than any place I found. They were anywhere from $400 to $500. So that'll be here next week. So in the meantime, got number one boiler locked out. We aren't using it, but it's still leaking water. So tomorrow I'm gonna go get a 1.25-inch plug, take the relief off and plug it for right now. But we aren't using that boiler. We still got the other boiler with the relief. So if we don't fire that, shouldn't be any problem. But I gotta do something because we're using way too much water.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right, thanks, Jim. Operations manager report.
We're looking at, we have a person coming in next week to look at another room, hopefully we can rent another room upstairs. I don't have anything.
All right. Penns Lake Code Enforcement Agency.
We got that report here.
Yeah, we do have that. There she is. All right. And then, Penns Lake Emergency Medical Services, Charles.
They had their meeting last evening. Everything still is in the upswing, so they look pretty good financially. Last month, they paid a big portion of the new ambulance off, so they're down to like $50,000 now that they owe, I believe. So they're doing pretty well with their finances, a lot better than they had been 5 years ago, so let's hope it continues. And that comes from the support of the community, really.
They get a lot more.
Yes, that's making a difference, so, and spread the word, you know, that people need to get their memberships. I mean, it's not a lot, but it makes a difference when you add it all together.
Yeah.
Sure
That's
does.
good.
That's all I have at this point on that.
Penns Valley Regional Planning Commission. Nothing. Okay. Planning Commission, we actually didn't have anything to discuss last time, so we didn't have a meeting. And Tri-Municipal Park, not much going on there. Water and Sewer Authorities.
I wasn't able to make that meeting. I did speak with Gil and asked him to call me if there was anything that I needed to bring back to the board, and I did not hear from him.
Okay.
So things there must be all right.
Yeah, all right. Pam, Secretary of the Treasury.
You have it in front of you. Oh.
You have to do the
You have
minutes
to do
first.
your,
Okay, all right.
Can I do it, please?
Yep. I'll entertain a motion to approve the March 10/22 Board of Supervisors meeting minutes.
I will make that motion.
And I can second that, please.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. And I need a motion to accept and approve the all funds financial report.
We'll make that motion as well.
I can second that.
Is there any discussion?
No, I reviewed it. I don't see anything new.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so Pam, that's all that we do there.
that's all we
You don't
do.
say anything there.
I don't say nothing.
Okay, great. All right, right to know officer report.
I have nothing.
Nothing. All right, roadmasters, Brandon, your turn.
First thing, might as well get out of the way before I battle, is the stone bids, if you will. Make your, do you have them in front of you?
I have. There's all your stone bed stuff.
So I guess I am going to tell you what's going on.
Sure, go ahead.
After looking at this the other day, Hanson Aggregates got the, bid for the stone. Holbaker got the bids for the blacktop, and Highway got the bids for the cold patch, so I guess make a motion.
Yeah, what are the units or the prices?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, for stone, that we.
There's a lot of them.
Well,
So how do you condense that together?
we'll reflect them in the minutes if that works, okay. Yeah, motion to award the,
Do we need to do that individually, or do we need to do that, Hanson for the stone, Hallbaker for the blacktop, highway for the cold patch? How does that work?
you can do it all as one.
I'll make a motion that we accept those three.
I'll second that, to award the stone bids.
Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The other thing that I need from you guys is the tar and chipping that we've talked about.
Yeah.
I think there's 4 roads that we had discussed, talked before, green growth, and we looked at that with 2 different people, and they had said, you know, some spots we could potentially do a double, some spots a single, which I guess I can agree with. Fire Hole Road out here hasn't had nothing done to it since I've been here, which is 10 years, so that's bull crap. Railroad Street, Long Street Extension, I wanted to do a double and a fog seal on top of them, and Maple Lane as well, just a single coat on that. So I had the PennDOT fella come out and, look at that and, draw up the stuff for the bids. And he gave a price of approximately $133,000. Typically, he's a little bit high, and typically, whenever we don't, we try and, I have tried to stick to $100,000. At some point, like, not that we're ever gonna get caught up, but at some point, we gotta keep going. So, I mean, I say we go with it, but his recommendation off of bids that he has gotten this year is to put it out to bid as a tar and chip with the option for a fiber mat plus fog seal, because they're getting better prices for a fiber mat, which is a tar and chip with fiberglass in it. So, and if you don't want to do it and it comes in more money, we don't have to do it. You do the tar and chip. So I don't think we really have anything to lose on that. It's all in, if you want me to make him condense this to get it down to a lower dollar figure, we can cut out the double somewhere, make it a single, or whatever. It might not, it probably won't come in that high, so that's up to you guys. How we put it out.
Well, like you said, however you put it out, you can always back off then, correct?
Yeah, I just don't know about the amount on, like, if we wanted a dollar figure to stay under, we could cut a few things out before we put it out to bid to get closer to that amount.
But don't you anticipate prices being higher this year as well?
Well,
Just like
he
everything
did.
else, so I mean,
Yeah, he said he'd figure in the 120s, best case scenario is what we'd be spending, but I just didn't want to spend a lot of money because, you know, we opted not to, I wanted to pave Middle Road, but then we got that grant, we're not allowed to do anything with that road until November, so that kind of put the kibosh to that. So within the next couple of years, we're gonna be taking out that loan for Bittner Hall and Middle Road, and Middle Road needs fixed, so we're gonna do that all in one. It's gonna be a lot of money, so.
but it'll be seamless. It won't be
Yeah.
patchwork.
Right, and we'll do this here and then run trucks all over stuff that you're gonna,
Right.
which there's a farm out there that's gonna do that no matter what we do, so it doesn't matter, but, whatever, yeah. If you wanna go ahead with that, we can, all I would say was to go ahead and make a motion to put the tar and chip out to bid with the option for a fiber mat plus bulb seal, and whatever the bids come in as, whatever we like better, we go that route.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
On here.
Mhm.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any unfinished business? No. New business? New business, we need to, I believe we need to make a motion. Pam, we need to make a motion to, about the solar panels.
Well, you guys need to have a discussion what you wanna do. I mean,
Well, I think we need to give it to the planning commission, is that
I
right?
mean, we don't have anything right now,
No.
as far as
Correct.
the solar ordinance, so that goes
What's
to
your
the planning
recommendation,
commission,
David?
doesn't it?
correct me if I'm wrong, but does this go back to that discussion about updating I call it the zoning code, but your zoning ordinances to, this is the one that's going around to
Yes.
align with the upgraded rules for solar. Did the planning commission comment on it at any point?
Yeah.
That's
No,
my knowledge,
no, no, in fact, we just heard about it. I know,
Oh,
yeah, I know some other townships are dealing with it. You know, they wanna take a lot of the farmer's land and they wanna put a ton of these things on, and there's some talk that, it messes up the ground, puts lead or something in it. So there's some things there are issues with that I think that we need to research and find out. We don't have that information at this point.
yeah, there are issues. One of the big ones is requiring these companies to take them out at the end of the term or of the
Longevity.
agreement. Right,
Oh.
because they're sticking people with fields of
Yeah,
Unused.
unusable equipment. But is this I think PSATS has a standard, but I know of another group that has kind of a standard of.
Can't
I
answer
can't
that.
answer that either.
So do we even have anything to refer to planning commission, or do we need to develop that?
I believe we need to develop.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have any.
What,
Okay.
we do have, we have the
Wind.
ordinance from the wind.
Right.
Ordinance. And when I spoke to Chris Coons this afternoon, he said that they could follow something along those lines. And there is other solar ordinances out there that they could,
Yeah.
put together.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a library. I can circulate it after the meeting, so let's keep it on the agenda, maybe we can come back to it.
Next month. Okay.
Okay, so we're not passing it over to the planning commission just yet?
Right, yeah, we'll figure out what we are
Okay.
asking.
Okay.
all right. All right, is there any correspondence?